Hey YouTube, it's been a long time. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Cresha Nicole. And for you guys who are not new, I know you about sick and tired of me because it's been a long time. So let me tell you guys what I've been up to. I really wanted to come up with this long, compilation of videos to tell you guys how everything's been going with opening up my own office and my e-commerce businesses and just things that I've been doing as a nurse entrepreneur. And I decided to kind of break it up into segments instead of doing one great big long, hour and a half long video. So I have gotten some emails and messages on Instagram asking about how I started my telemedicine business and how I'm doing this and how I'm doing that. First, let me just say, I do give information to anybody, pretty much anybody. But at the same time, I do charge for consultations. So there's only so much information, obviously, that I'm going to put out without charging. I obviously don't want to be, ridiculous with it. Like, you can just talk and tell people, answer questions here and there. But at the same time, I'm a nurse entrepreneur. I've always been a nurse entrepreneur since I was an LPN. And in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about how I can make money as a nurse. That's just, might sound bad, but that's just the reality. I mean, I'm not the only one. And that's how entrepreneurs think. There's a limit on how much information we're going to put out there. But I don't want to be a dick about it. So let me start by saying how I found a location for Urgent NP. So yes, you guys who watched this video know that I started off as telemedicine last year. And that was when I was in Maryland. That's when I first established Urgent NP. And now I'm in an office. So let me tell you guys about that process, because it was a trip. It was something else, I'm telling you. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'm where God put me, and I'm okay with that. And I am going to insert footage of, here and there of my process, which was from months ago. So when I decided to transition from telemedicine only to having a physical location, one of the main reasons why I decided to do that, which is kind of why I decided to do it a long time ago when I had a home health agency. There's only so much you can do from home legally. You can't have patients coming to your home. I don't care if you have the nicest basement and you can make that basement look like a whole clinic. You need to have your medical office, medical suite, whatever you're doing needs to be outside of your home. A lot of insurances will not credential you. Medicaid, Medicare will not credential you trying to run a practice from your home as a medical provider. I don't know if it's the same for psychiatrists, psychologists, but for medical providers, you can't do that from your house. So I knew I needed to get out of my house if I really wanted to grow my business, because telemedicine, believe it or not, it's really slow. There are still people who do not believe in telemedicine. They're like, no way, you're gonna see me in person. Like, I see it with my full-time job, which is for for a physician. I work in pediatrics. I've been there since August of last year. And I see people, they're like, I'm not doing telemedicine. They just don't believe in it, and that's okay. They don't have to. But it is a lot of people that are like, why should I do telemedicine? You're not going to see me. You're not going to touch me. You're not going to whatever. And it is what it is. It's not as... And when COVID hit, there were some people like, oh my God, I know your business is just booming now. No, it's not. Because there's so many companies that started doing telemedicine because they had to, and because they saw, oh my gosh, this is a good way to make money without actually even having to see a patient in person. And telemedicine business just took completely off. And definitely left me and my little urgent NP telemedicine practice in the dust. So and that's okay, because I have a full-time job that I rely on more heavily than my own practice. But anyway, so when I decided to transition to in-person and do what I have to do so I can kind of get credentialed with different insurance companies and different, you know, payers, I went on the hunt. So I did search, oh my gosh, what is it called? I can't even think of the name of it right now that I'm talking to you. Let me see, because they do still send me emails, because I'm looking, I always look for houses too. I know it starts with a Z and I can't even think of it. Ugh. Anyway, so I did a Google search for medical offices for lease. That's pretty much what I put in Google, and in my zip code. And I'm gonna tell you, it can be very expensive. It can be very expensive. So I found a couple of properties that I had already had my eye on from way back when I was an LPN, just dreaming about being a nurse practitioner. And those properties are in my city. So the first property that I contacted the leasing company, property manager, and you know, this is a nice size plaza in my city, and I know I would get a lot of traffic. I know this location was formerly a tanning salon. So I contacted the property managers. They gave me access to enter the property, and me and my family went and viewed the property. I did some Google searches to find out, what do I need to look for, what do I need to look out for, and there's some good YouTube videos on this. What do you need to look for? You need to check the air conditioner. You need to check to see if it's super old and probably needs to be replaced, and put that in your request if you're going, you know, because when you are about to get a commercial property, some of the leasers will have you sign a letter of intent, and this company did. So in my letter of intent, I put everything that I was like, okay, I think this needs to be done, that needs to be done. And I'm gonna insert the video of me and my family. It's really quick, walking through this property, and I did not want to make the video long or extensive because this is not my property, but I'm gonna insert it here. Okay, so I really like this property. I did not like the fact that they still had the tanning beds in there. I don't know what to do with tanning beds. I felt like, you know, these beds belong to somebody, and that property is as is. If you lease it, you have to figure out what to do with all that stuff. Anything that's broken, you have to fix it as the renter, as the leasee. And I didn't really like that necessarily, but I knew in my letter of intent that I was going to return, I was going to put in there that for them to remove the tanning beds, or and extend that they were going to give me like 1 month to do construction, or, you know, remodel the space, and then after that month I would start paying the lease, paying the rent. I was asking that they extend that if I have to find a way to get rid of those tanning beds, extend that by, you know, from 30 days to 60 days. And if not, I can't remember what else I had in there, trying to negotiate. And literally, I never heard back from these people, which doesn't surprise me, because even though this plaza is super big, they have open units that have been sitting empty for years. That is a sign of poor management. So it made me think, okay, so if I get into this space and I need something is broken or something happened, what would happen? So I did not pursue this space. Once I returned the letter of intent, the LOI, and they didn't reply in a reasonable time, I wasn't going to reach back out. I let it go. So there was another property that it's a fixer-upper. I had my eye on. It's a small little plaza, which is really old in my area, but it's in a good location. And I was willing to put the time, the money, and the energy into fixing up this space. And I had actually met the owner a long time ago when I was an LPN, because I walked through one of his properties about 10 years ago. He was so super nice guy, super nice. So met with him, contacted him, and walked through the property. And I'll insert a video right now. So I walked through that property. I was really excited. I was like, you know, this property has potential. I can build it out how I want to build it out. I had already contacted the person I was gonna get to paint the property, to, you know, I had just had things planned out to a T. And the application process was very wacky. It was so wacky. I mean, I turned in everything that I could possibly turn in, even things I thought was ridiculous. And so I started getting calls from my references, and they were like, this man is asking some really weird questions. I'm really uncomfortable. And this was from everybody he contacted. And I was really just shook, because this man was he was so nice in person. He was super nice. And I was so disappointed. This man was asking if I was on drugs. He called my husband, who was not a reference. And he was just an emergency contact on my application. He called and grilled him as if he was one of my references. He was asking my husband to provide information about my mom, if my mom was alive, what is her last name, what is her phone number. And it was just so, and I'm just breezing over this, like it was quirky, it was weird, and everybody was uncomfortable. So I contacted him and told him, you know, this is gonna work. Like, once I saw him, and I think he did this because he had bad experiences in the past, and I'm gonna say this without, he didn't tell me this, but I'm from this area, so I know, I have an idea what he's talking about. But there was a black person that he had rented to, and that really broke his trust. She was doing some things she shouldn't have been doing, and here I come, a little, you know, youngish black woman trying to lease one of his spaces, and he freaked out. And I tried to convince him and prove to him in every which way. I even gave him extra things he didn't even ask for to prove, like, dude, I am a good person. I'm legit. And he just was so freaked out and freaked everybody else out. And I was like, okay, no. So I decided to just check back in this little office. It's a building with multiple offices in it. And I decided to check back at that location, which is where I previously leased a space for my home health agency. And I did not want to necessarily go there because it's just an office. It's not a clinic. It's just a lot of suites. And I went on Pinterest and I looked up medical office suites, medical suites. And I found so many little, you know, so many cute medical suites. And I thought, okay, this is a thing. Like this can work. This can work. And I can't say I was truly happy about going into just a suite, just an executive office suite, but I prayed about it and I said, okay, I want to be outside of my house, and I don't want to spend too much money. I'm not made of money, not yet, but I don't want to spend too much money. And I said, well, I'm gonna contact this company and see where it goes. I'm so sorry, y'all. Hold on. This is all the time, so I'm gonna turn it off though. So anyway, I contacted the property managers, and they had offices available. They had a few offices available, and they said, well, we have this office available. And I was like, that's the exact same office I was in for my I was about to say the name of my company, but that's the same office I was in for my home health agency. How ironic is that? So I was like, sure, you know, let me just submit the application and see how everything goes and see if they'll lease this space to me. And lo and behold, they leased the space to me. So here I am back right now, you guys. I'm in the office now. It's just a medical suite. It's just an office, and I'm back in the exact same office that I was in. How many years ago? Oh my gosh, I want to say 7 years ago, in this very office for my home health care agency. So the way I put it is, I might not be where I want to be. This is not the end, but I am where God wants me to be, and it's for a reason. This office is downtown, which I love downtown in my city. This office, I have a kinship to it because this was my first business location that I leased for a business of mine. And I mean, I prayed about it, and this is what came through for me. So I was really excited about that. Now, couple of things to keep in mind when you are looking for a location for your nurse practitioner led clinic. Number one, don't force anything. Don't force it. I would have loved to be in that old tanning salon, still would, but it wasn't meant to be. And so don't force it. Stick to your budget. Stick to your budget. There was another location that I didn't actually get to walk through, but I was really interested in, and it was outside of my budget. And I went and looked unofficially, just kind of peeping out the property, and it was open and available, and went there to meet with the owners, and all of a sudden it was a full running, like there's cars out there. And mind you, this was only days. They were still using that property, and you know, I was getting ready to probably go into debt trying to get this standalone brick and mortar clinic already set up as a clinic. Didn't work. It wasn't what God had for me. So stick within your budget, because you might mess yourself up. Don't, oh my gosh, it's like I know people, especially from the South, have heard of this. Your eyes are big. Your eyes are big. That means you just really want more than what you need. So for that third space that I did not record, my eyes were big. I was like, I want it. I don't care if it's kind of like out of my budget. I want it. But anyway, that didn't happen. So stick within your budget. Do your research on the property. Do your research on the property managers, because you're gonna have a 3-year. This is a commercial. These are commercial leases. So for the most part, 3 to 5 year relationship with these people. Do your research, and make sure you ask everything. Don't worry about sounding ignorant. Don't worry about, you know, sounding like a newbie. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Ask the questions, because before you sign that lease, you need to make sure, if I have a problem, I'll be able to contact this property manager or owner and get my problem fixed. So definitely do that. Also, the air conditioning system is important in the clinic, okay? Make sure that unit is up to date. If you have to have an HVAC guy come out and check that unit, do that. Make sure the plumbing is okay. Make sure your clinic or your office is accessible to your patients. That's the one thing I don't like about this office. Anybody that comes here has to be let in. It's a code to the door. You cannot just walk into this office. It's kind of good and bad. But make sure you have commercial renters insurance. Make sure you look up everything before you include that in your budget. Because you got to say to yourself, okay, I know I have to pay the rent. I know I have to pay your telephone bill or whatever, your business phone. Depending on where you are, you may have to pay utilities. I don't have to pay utilities, but depending on where you are, you may have to pay for lights and water. So put all of that in the budget, and don't forget your commercial renters insurance. I know I'm forgetting like some things, but I do have a digital download available on, oh my god, I just got off of work, so y'all excuse me for saying so many times and for just forgetting. So go to digitalnursesociety.com, Digital Nurse Society. I'll put the link in the description box. There is a digital download giving nurse practitioners some good tips, some good information. I think it's about an 11-page ebook on opening up your own nurse practitioner lab practice. There's a checklist in there. There's a budget in there, to, basically describing things that, just putting in there things that you need to keep in mind. Supplies. I don't have anybody that works for me right now, which is probably a bad idea, because I checked my voicemail from my other job and it had like 18 messages. So I really need to hire a personal assistant or something, because this is not gonna work. But anyway, I put that digital download on Digital Nurse Society, so you guys, it's not super expensive. Download it. If you're interested in opening up your own clinic, please just start there. I've done so much research over the however many months, and however, actually for even longer than that, because the whole reason I became a nurse practitioner was to open up a clinic. So I've been doing research for a long time. Also, join Facebook groups for nurse practitioners with their own business, nurse practitioners in business, that type of thing. I'm gonna tell you, I joined this group and it was so much just invaluable information on this Facebook group. And I will say, those nurse practitioner and business groups, don't ask anything, don't ask any clinical questions, because I did make the mistake of putting a what would you do type of question, and they literally kicked me out of the group. Broke my little heart. That's okay. I won't bash the group, because it still has some very good information. I feel like it's worth it for nurse practitioners who are going into business, but they're so scared of physicians faking to be nurse practitioners to get in those groups, to screenshot these messages just so they can say, oh look, nurse practitioners don't really know. But the thing about it is, I did know it was a hypothetical question, but I didn't even have a chance to explain that. They drug me for fucking filth on that group. Are you really a nurse practitioner? Are you a physician pretending to be a nurse practitioner? It was complete. When you hear about nurses being just mean, it's real. It's sad, but it's real. And I experienced that, and it took about an hour of getting completely drugged for filth on that thread, and then they booted me out of the group for asking a hypothetical clinical question. It is what it is, but the group is still worth being in. Just, I'm telling you right now, don't ask any clinical questions on any of these groups at all. what else can I say? I do have some other videos coming up. I hate to even promise y'all videos because I be so busy, y'all. I be so busy. Okay, my camera just cut off. But anyway, I do want to make some more videos for you guys and go through the process, like how I got my supervising physician, because in Florida we cannot practice independently. I know the law just changed and took effect July 1st, but there's so much red tape. To me, it's not even worth it. But that's a whole nother video too. Okay, you guys, if you have any questions, please post them below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll try my best to get back to you guys sooner. Take care. Bye.